All right, so let's go through some mental health tips. Here's one of the big things that I don't think people really understand. Uh, yeah, the mind's amazing, it's awesome, all those things. Uh, it runs on the same chemicals that the rest of your body does. So when we start seeing deficiencies in nutrient levels and things like that, we start seeing abnormal behavior in mental function. So ADD, ADHD, depression, anxiety, these things are very often directly related to nutritional deficiencies. You look at, probably one of the easiest ones that we see more often than not is testosterone. Low testosterone has been directly tied to depression forever. So, checking your hormones, making sure your testosterone levels are up is probably the number one thing I tell you to do. But then you got to look at the rest of the stuff in the body. Where are your B vitamins? Depending on who you are, depending on COMT issues, things like that, you're either going to need methylcobalamin or you're going to need hydroxyl or adrenocobalamin. That's an important piece. You very often we see those low. D3, so another hormone, we see low all the time. I know it's referred to as vitamin D3. D3 is not a vitamin. But anyway, so vitamin D3 being low, you want that between 80 and 120. You really want that one really, really high. Simple electrolyte function, magnesium, sodium, potassium, getting these things up is also really, really, really beneficial. Now, there's an entire side of this. So you have your nutritional deficiencies, and then you have the things you're not supposed to have, right? So you have all your deficiencies, which you can go through and find all your electrolytes and find all your stuff and make sure all those nutrients are about where they're supposed to be. But the other big thing is that the things that you're not supposed to have. So let's go through the inflammatory cycle. So, having high C-reactive protein, having, high inflammation, chronic inflammation, having high insulin levels, systemic high insulin levels. That's also one of the things that we see directly tied to depression and mental issues. So going through and checking those things is a big one. Now, the number one thing, and this is one of the reasons that we start everything we do with getting people back to baseline through our what we call kill and refill, is parasitic infections. Now, we've been working with parasites for 20 years. And when we first started working with them, we would tell people about parasites and they'd be like, oh, that's not a thing in America. Americans don't have parasites. Yeah, like everybody does. Like everybody that we've tested, like 90-something% of people do. And the issue you run into with these is that last number I saw was 400,000 different varieties of parasites. So the chances that you're going to, buy an online para cleanse or parasite, detox is going to get them all is really, really low. And the other problem with that is that let's say that it did get all of them. Let's say you take this 30-day deal and it knocks out 100% of your parasites. Great. What are you doing to keep yourself from getting reinfected? Like most of the time, what we're seeing is people get reinfected all the time. If you've got dogs and cats and animals of any kind in your home, or you eat out more than once a month, chances are you're getting reinfected all the time. So that's one of those other big things that we've got to really, really watch for. Like if your kids, anyone is starting to show signs of depression or anxiety issues, the first thing you got to do is clean up their body. And the parasites produce inflammatory chemicals that damage the body in all sorts of different ways. Mental health is definitely one of them that we see. So clearing the parasites, the resetting the gut. So killing the yeast off, bringing back up good function in the gut so that your body can make, your gut can make all the serotonin, for your brain. Super important. All of it's made in your gut. So you want to kind of make sure that that's kept up as well. And then as you start kind of pulling these things back together, you'll start to see things start to come back. Now, here's the problem we get into, and we see this a lot. This is one of the reasons we started bringing the mental work, the NLP stuff in the office, is once you start filling that hole back up and the pressure and all the horribleness, the anxiety and the depression and all that stuff starts to alleviate and leave, you no longer have those things or they become substantially less. What ends up happening is that you've got to rebuild all of the stuff in your head that you've programmed yourself with, that you've been telling yourself, that you've just decided is fact while you were nutrient deprived, depressed, and looking at the world through that dirty, dark visor, and so you've decided that, oh, well, life is just hard, it's going to hurt, it's going to be painful. And, if something good happens, I'm just going to wait for the bad to happen again because bad's always out there and it's always coming to get me. Those type of ideas are one of the things you've got to 100% reset. Because if whatever your mind is deciding it's going to find, it will find. Because there's a lot of bad, but there's a lot of good. And if you teach yourself to find the bad, you'll find the bad in every situation. Everybody knows somebody who, the old joke, this person could find a reason to be unhappy if they won the lottery. That type of a thing. And so once you've cleaned up all the biochemical stuff, you've still got to go back through and reset the mental piece. How are you choosing to look at the world? How is your programming dictating how you go through life? And then how can we reset your programming so that your programming is now pushing you into a positive function? These are the two big things that we've got to do. No matter where you look, if you're like, I'm going to stop watching the news because the news is just depressing and lies, which is fact. Cool. You're going to go to social media because that's not any better. That's just a whole lot more negativity in a whole lot more different ways. So, the environment that you also choose to be a part of, so look at it this way. Your diet's not just what you eat in your mouth. It's what you watch. It's what you hear. It's, the company you surround yourself with. So when we start talking about mental health, these are all pieces of the thing that need to be dealt with. And what we're seeing right now in society is that, we're putting people on pills left, right, and center. I mean, everybody you see is on some type of anti-anxiety, antidepressant, anti-mood, like mood stabilizers, whatever it is. Everybody's on these things. These are some of the highest selling medications that are on the market is stuff for your head. And the problem is that, if you look at the research on them, they're roughly the same as placebo. In fact, there's research studies out that slight exercise is better than all of the SSRIs from a research standpoint, which makes sense because as you move around, the fact that you're moving, all the information that goes to the head, goes to the brain, goes up, hits cerebellum, hits frontal lobe, and then suppresses temporal function. Temporal function holds the amygdala, fear, hate, anger, terror, anxiety, all that stuff. So if we suppress that with exercise, you will feel better. This is also the reason why a lot of times people talk about going to the gym as therapy instead of just something for their body. So yeah, you've got to move as well. But the problem is that when we start putting this all together, if you don't do it holistically, you're going to have a big problem. So for instance, if you're like, you should go exercise. All right, great. Maybe you should go exercise. Here's the problem. If you have low testosterone and low nutrient density, guess what? That exercise is going to be more harmful for you than beneficial. Plus, it's going to suck and you're going to be sore and you're going to hate it. So the way that I recommend that we do it, and this is the way we do it in the office, is we do the kill and refill. So we kill all the parasites, we kill all the yeast, we restore gut flora so you can start producing serotonin, you can start producing these B vitamins, you can start absorbing and utilizing all the nutrients that your body was lacking. And then we do some maintenance stuff so that you don't get reinfected with these parasitic issues. And when we do it, it's not just one or two things. We're using about 20 different antiparasitics. Some of them overlap. But for instance, you're taking liquid wormwood and you're using wormwood and enemas and stuff like that. So they do overlap, but we're multiple different routes of getting these things knocked out all the way through. So once you get these things knocked out, now we can refill your body with all the phase 1, phase 2 detox chemicals your body requires, nutrients your body requires, flush out all these issues, restore all your nutrient levels, and that helps tremendously. We've had a lot of people just after the first 6 weeks come back in and be like, I feel so much better. This is reports we're getting from our veterans with PTSD. This is reports we're getting from people we're working on specifically for depression and anxiety and issues like that. They're feeling a lot better. Then we go through the psychological piece. We teach them how to find the good, how to kind of put your default setting to search for all the good things I like. And then once you start doing that and you lean into it, now all of a sudden we start working on the mental piece. Because again, remember that massive nutrient deficiency that people have had for months or weeks or years, what ends up happening is that creates a dark filter that you look at the world through. And so you're like, everything sucks, everything, my life is so rough, and everybody else is great, but they had all these benefits that I don't have. And I'm a victim, and like that's just the mentality that a lot of people end up with, no matter how hard you want to push back against it. But that's the thing. Once your nutrients are in a place where your body can actually sustain function, where you can actually start getting out and exercising, having that be wildly beneficial to both your body and your mind, now all of a sudden we've also have to start changing the way that you look at the world. So it's it's the exact same thing. It's just that how do we gear ourselves to not find the bad, but find the good? And this isn't necessarily one of those things where it's like, oh, well, just turn a blind eye to all the bad things. And, if we pretend they're not there, they're not there. No, you still recognize them, but you've offset them. And so here's this is one of the things that Nathan talks about all the time. And I love this analogy. You've got two cups, right? Cup A and cup B. This is your good cup. This is your bad cup. If the bad cup gets completely empty, that doesn't help fill the good cup. Lack of bad doesn't increase the good. So what you literally have to do is you've got to actively work to, okay, we're going to take away the things that are filling the bad cup, right? So we're going to take away the nutritional deficiencies. We're going to take away the inflammatory chemicals. We're going to take away all of the things that we know biochemically we can do. Great, that's done. Okay, now we're going to fill the body with all the good chemicals so that we have the capacity to find the good and live in the good. But that doesn't mean that necessarily brings all the good up. So what you have to do now is you now have to teach the mind to find the good. It's super easy for your mind to find the bad. It's all over the place. But if you teach the mind to find the good, all of a sudden you start filling that good cup. And so as the good cup starts filling up, even if there's still a little bit left in the negative cup, they'll offset. And so that's really where the key is okay, we've got to clean the body up, so get it back to a metabolic state or a chemical state where we can allow ourselves to be happy, be beneficial. We got our sleep in, we got all that stuff knocked out. And so we have the way to build it all up. And so we've drained the bad cup. Now we need to go over and teach you how to fill your good cup. So this is what we call the joy paradigm. So when I talk about a lot about how stress is really, when we talk about stress, even all the biochemical stuff, all the research, stress is bad, stress. Stress is really, if you look at it, a combination of different emotions. And so the most prominent ones are fear, guilt, and sadness. So how do we offset these? Well, that's easy. You find the inverse and you fill that and you decrease the actual function of guilt or sadness or hurt. So however you want to go through it, that's how you do it. And so there's psychological stuff you can do to reduce the bad, and there's stuff that you can do to increase the good. And so that's what you do. The problem is that if you try to do the mental health work before you do the biochemical work, you're not going to have a whole lot of success, because you still have to have the serotonin. I'm not arguing that the serotonin issue is a thing. I will tell you the SSRIs, research-wise, don't show up very good. But then again, just think about that for a second. If you're taking a pill to hopefully increase the serotonin in the synaptic cleft, which is microscopic, you're not going to, and all it does is it helps reduce the breakdown of the serotonin you already have. And so it's all based on what you already have to begin with. So why don't you just radically increase the amount you have? That makes all the sense in the world. So yeah, fix the gut, radically increase thousands or 10,000 times the amount of serotonin you're producing, so we can actually start getting these things resolved. So there is a metabolic or biochemical function, and then there's a psychological function, how you train your brain to do these things. And so just like most people don't know how to fix the biochemical stuff, nobody's been taught how to focus on and how to grow the joy paradigm. People aren't, I bet the vast majority of people who are watching this and share this with whoever you know can agree that, you know what, yeah, the stress I feel is about, I'm worried about the future, which is anxiety. Fear of the future is anxiety. So fear is the primary one. And then guilt, I'm spending too much time at work. I'm not spending enough time with my kids, or, I shouldn't have done this. I should have done that. So guilt's another big one. And then sadness, because you're just like sad all the time. Well, a lot of these are biochemical, and a lot of these you have to teach people how not to be that way. You're not going to get it just going through life hoping things come to you. So you need to have somebody actually walk you through how to do these things. So this is the other reason why I kind of left the Freudian model of working with therapists who are going to talk to you forever, which is a great model if it works for you. I'm not saying to abandon something that's working for you. I'm just saying I talked to a lot of people who are like, yeah, I went to therapy for a year or couples counseling or whatever, and it never helped. Okay. Well, maybe if we start with the biochemical, it would have helped more. However, what I've been seeing is the faster route is through, changing the models. Instead of the Freudian model, the Adler model, which is emotions, purpose, and, family. So But that's kind of how we go through it. I recommend that you guys take a look at that. If you have any of those issues, start killing the parasites. Like start there, because because your parasites are stealing your nutrients and poisoning you with toxins at the same time. So if all you did was knock your parasites out, get a little bit more of those nutrients, and then stop having the poison, that would be a massive start to begin with. So if you're going to find a place to start, really, really, really get a really good anti-parasitic protocol going. Not just a one-time cleanse, not just I did this thing once, or I did, I took one pill that's supposed to kill all the parasites. Like, ivermectin works, but it doesn't kill everything you need. So that's one of those things we're starting to see. So you guys have fun with that. If you guys need any help, hit us up. questions@chalmerswellness.com, or just go to pillarsofwellness.com and get a hold of us, and we'll help you guys walk through it. This is 100% something that you need somebody to help you walk through. You're not going to just stumble upon this all by yourself. So thanks for your time. You guys have a fabulous day. Why did they not turn off?